Hey guys, this is just a quick talk on identifying type and one of the resources that you have in this class. This hasn't changed much in the years that we've been using this book. Right now, I'm looking at the Non-Designer's fourth edition, and what it does in chapter 11 is it helps you identify old style, modern, slab serif, sans serif, and script, and also decorative. So make sure that you read this. I'm just pointing it out to you because I found that a lot of students don't look at this and that they guess at some of the categories. And they always do poorly on assignments, and we have several assignments related to this. And I really want to overstate and emphasize the fact that you should be able to easily identify these different categories. Now, there's more categories than this that are in your type rules book, but these are the main categories. What's nice about the book is it breaks down old style, gives you a nice term to hold on to for serifs, and shows you how the old style has diagonal stress, thick to thin transition in the strokes, talks about the way the brackets look, and goes on, talks about modern typefaces, which has that strong thick to thin transition and has a vertical stress rather than a diagonal stress. And this is a category of serif right here. This is the classic or old style. This is modern, and then there's slab serif, which is also in the category called serif. And I'd rather you say old style, modern, or slab serif than just say serif because that's just a general term. If it has a serif on it, then it's a serif. Yeah, you're not wrong, but there are subcategories that you want to focus in on. But see how this does not have that thick to thin transition. It has some, but it has less. It's closer to mono weight, so there's very little thick to thin transition. It's vertical stress. Where a modern one, you identify it because it has dramatic thick to thin transition, and then old style is kind of in the middle. Plus, it has the diagonal stress. And you have sans serifs, which have no serifs and also have no thick to thin, no or very little thick to thin transition. Now, in your type rules book, it talks about humanistic sans serifs, which do have thick to thin transition in them. So they have a little bit of a combination of the thick to thin in them. So that's a category of sans serif that's not in here. Actually, it talks about it right here. It calls it does address the fact that it exists. So that's what it's showing me right here. It doesn't actually name it, but your book calls it humanistic. This is script, and script in your book is broken into two categories, just informal and formal. And then there's decorative, which is a combination. And I just want to repeat this because I have to repeat it a lot. Take for example this decorative typeface here, Matchwood. Look at it. Doesn't it look like a serif? It is a serif, correct? What type of a serif? Take a look at it. So it's really, if you just said serif, that would be perfectly fine. But going up and down, it's actually got vertical stress. But if you look right here at these guys, the 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 serifs themselves and the way they're bracketed, it's kind of a hybrid. It's between old style and it's really, I'm just going to call it old style, but it's got some slab serif qualities. But really, just wording it like that, if you're identifying a font and just recognizing more than just saying decorative all the time, because if you say decorative, you'll do poorly on assignments. You have to go deeper. Decorative just means miscellaneous. So I want you to go in and try and talk about it. So this guy right here has some serif properties. This is kind of like a script slash sans serif. See how there's no serifs on it. This guy right here actually, it's kind of got some of the characteristics of a modern serif, but there aren't any serifs on it. And this right here is definitely craziness, but it has a little bit of a script feel because it looks like somebody drew all these little details on top of the letters by hand. And you can break it down. You can talk about these things. This is a decorative grunge sans serif. It also has a little bit of the look of an informal script. So these are just hybrids. So I ask students to talk about what they're seeing. I'm not incredibly strict on this. I just, if you can at all relate a decorative serif to any one of these categories, I want you to, rather than just saying decorative and moving on with your life. Now here's the quizzes that you have access to. Here's a quiz, basically draw lines to match the category. Take this, you should be able to pass this. And then there is actually another quiz. This is a visual quiz you can take right out of your book that helps you recognize transitions. Like it says here, moderate, thick to thin, radical, thick to thin, no, none. So you just look and go take that quiz. This will help you out a lot and help you with your descriptions of typefaces. So it helps you to identify them visually and even categorize them. So I hope that you found this helpful. This is something I wanted to point out that relates to your homework assignment. As I always say, contact me if you have any questions.